Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to the June meeting of City Island Rising. Thank you all for coming and thank you all for building community with us. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is John Doyle. I'm the president of our board. We have a few of our board members here today, so I'm just going to give them a quick shout out. We have Millie Perez right over here, Nancy Keck right over here, Dan Schreiber right there, and Kim Woodruff Jones right here. Again, thank you all for coming. We have a special guest tonight, so I wanted to give a little time for people to cycle in. Our guest is the DOT Bronx Borough Commissioner. So all the concerns that you guys commonly bring up at the meetings related to roadway issues, speeding issues, most of these issues fall under her agency's domain. Before Darissa comes up here, I just want to, again, thank her because she doesn't have to come out after hours to come to a room, and we all want to be friendly. Everyone can make whatever concern they have. Let's just be respectful of each other here because we all want the same things. We want safe streets. We want you want it easily accessible for both pedestrians and bicyclists and motorists. So we all are after the same things, and if we disagree, we'll come to some other resolution at another time. Before we begin, as everyone can see, Part 2C, these are all the DOT requests that are still under review. And the reason I put these in the agenda are that if you ask the commissioner about it, which is your right to do, she's going to probably tell you they're under review. And sometimes these take a few months to come, or even 6 months to 12 months to come to fruition. So we're just sharing this all with you, so that way we're not asking questions that she's not going to have the answer to. But we did provide a long list of questions that have come up in past meetings, so she could be familiar with them. And without further ado, let's give a warm round of applause to Darissa Cruz, our Bronx DOT Commissioner.
Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. As John mentioned, I'm Darissa Cruz. I am the Bronx Borough Commissioner for the New York City Department of Transportation. Very happy to be here with you all. I guess I'll say a little bit about myself. Although I'm relatively new to the Bronx Borough Commissioner role, I've actually been at the Bronx office for the past 9 years. And I worked previously for former Bronx Borough Commissioner Ruben Diaz Jr., so I've actually spent most of my career in the Bronx. I'm a lifelong Bronxite. I also grew up here. I still live here today. And my goal is to make the Bronx one of the safest places. I feel like growing up, the thing that drew me to DOT is that I grew up with a father who was a person with disabilities, and I look at the world through a lens of accessibility. And my goal is just to make it accessible for every single New Yorker to get around. And so, without further ado, I do want to give you all time to ask me questions. I'm here to engage with you all. My goal here is to develop a relationship and continue to foster a relationship so that we can all work together to make our community safer. Thank you.
Okay. So who would like the first question? Dan.
So DOT does the corners, correct?
The pedestrian ramps, yes.
Yeah. So walk me through. Like I own the shop on the corner of Schofield Street and City Island Avenue, and they ripped up the corner 3 times.
That's unusual.
Yeah. So they rip up the corner and then they redo it, and then they don't notify any of the businesses around it. And then they don't put a sidewalk in. And I don't mean to start by attacking, so.
No, I understand.
And every time they've done it, we request that either we get notified or they put a walkway around it. And I have more than several photos of no walkway, so that people have to walk either into the street directly into oncoming traffic or cross with no assistance.
And is that the condition currently?
Well, currently it's done.
Okay.
So they showed up on Wednesday. They showed up. First they showed up to drop off barriers to then do the construction during the busiest weekend of the year. And I politely said, you can't come do this on a Saturday because people can't get around you. And then to their credit, they didn't show up Saturday, but then they showed up Tuesday. They showed up Tuesday unannounced and began ripping up the sidewalk, and then they just don't ever put a walk around. So they're supposed to put across the street, and they just kind of refuse. And so I don't know who's responsible for that.
Yeah, that's actually what my office is here for these type of issues. Happy to facilitate. They are supposed to provide a path. They actually just did the pedestrian ramps by my house.
Okay.
And they are supposed to, not only are they supposed to provide a path, but there's also a ramp that they provide to kind of guide pedestrians, especially with accessibility issues, to get off the curb. So it's unfortunate that was the situation here, but please share that information with me so that I can share that with our sidewalk inspection and management team. They're the ones who take care of the pedestrian ramps, so that doesn't happen again. That's what my office is here for. When you guys see things that are DOT related and you have questions or concerns, I can actually be reached at, and I can give my number now, but it's 212-748-6680.
Sorry, one more time.
Sure, 212-748-6680.
And anybody specifically you should be requesting?
No, my entire team is there. There's about 8 of us there, and any one of us can handle this concern. Mostly it'll be brought to my attention, and then I can go ahead and direct it with our sidewalk inspection and management team, because that's not supposed to be happening. But that's the best way to reach us.
Okay.
And of course,
We'll go to Stephen, then Jason.
Okay, thank you for being here this evening.
of course.
Question number 3. I've always been an advocate of better lighting, and over the years, there's always been a controversy as to who's responsible for making sure the lights are repaired, which they're not. Some people say it's the Department of Transportation.
You mean in the park, in Holiday Park?
Going from Park Drive, Orchard Beach,
100%.
Orchard Beach Road, up until and including the bridge.
Absolutely.
The lights, of which there are probably at least a dozen, which are not working. And then we've always been told that department's responsibility of the Department of Transportation. Other people say it's the Parks Department, and it never gets fixed. And hoping that you might be able to look into that. And my second part of that question is the lights which are there, since it is a very dark area, has any thought have been given to increasing the size of the bulb of the light to increase the lighting in that area? Because a lot of trees, they hinder the light coming out and whatever. I think if there were more lights, it would make it a safer area, and I think it might be a good thing to do. So I have those 2 questions.
Of course. So the lights are maintained by us, by New York City DOT. We did do an LED conversion about 10 years ago now, and we're seeing that some of those lights need to be upgraded. I don't know the specific condition for this roadway. I can take a look at it. But usually our contractors have 10 days to go out and assess the street lighting issue, and then a plan of action is made to repair. Sometimes we need Con Edison, who is our electrical partner, to come in and do work in order to turn on the street lights. I'm happy to take a look at what the concern is here and then follow up with next steps. I did notice that a lot of the trees are kind of overshadowing the lights. So I'm happy to work with my partner at the Department of Parks and Recreation to try to get some of these trees pruned. And it's just to allow for better lighting. I understand that we want to continue to maintain our trees, but sometimes lighting and trees don't exactly work in tandem, and we would like to see that happen. So I can work with them to try to get some of them pruned, and then hopefully we can get the light repaired.
Thank you.
Of course.
To that end, I know that there's been issues with the grid itself, like Stephen would bring up, and I know I emailed with you.
Yes.
A lot of them are on Orchard Beach Road, but a lot of them are also in City Island Circle. So you have the condition of the roadways, which I'm sure you experienced on your way out here.
Yes.
It's a way to bring people in when they see it for themselves. It's the roadways, it's the lights, it's the wildlife within the roadways. It's kind of creates a very chaotic situation. Is there anything we can do to either get the grid updated or the things we could be doing to help you? Because I assume that there might be a resource issue? What can we do?
Sure. So actually, you were mentioning the Pelham Bay Park access study that Parks is conducting right now. That's actually an endeavor to kind of upgrade all of the infrastructure within the park. Part of the issue is that the roadways, New York City DOT has been maintaining them, but they are Parks roads. But you know, in the service, especially in the name of public safety, we've been taking care of them. We would love to have, you know, additional funding provided to actually maybe do a capital upgrade. Capital projects are usually the way that we can update infrastructure. And so like street lighting updates, roadway updates, maybe sidewalks, proper pedestrian spaces within the parks could be upgraded through that. But first they have to do the study to determine what is the scope of work, and then they will go through a capital project. And we would be happy to work with Parks on upgrading all of our infrastructure.
So the roadways are technically into the park's jurisdiction,
Yes.
but you maintain them. which
Yes,
is
in
what
the name
leads
of public
to
safety, yes.
The issue that we have going on. I'm sorry about that. Jason, you were patient, so go right ahead.
A very similar, I guess, type of question in terms of lining and painting, like, you know, all the way from the bridge up here. And
Yes,
the
I did
traffic
notice.
circle specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll just say, as a person born in Boston, the home of rotaries, these are some of the worst marked in the world. And I'm not used to there even being stop signs, but they do have stop signs here in New York for them all, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to do. But nobody follows the directions, and then when you do, it's very, you know, complicated. And then on a busy weekend, coming into City Island, the white cones that they have that go up maybe 20 feet or so probably really should go up like 50 feet, and should make it so that like you're forced in, because people decide last minute like to cut over. And they'll cut 3 lanes over to get into.
Right, because they're like in a rush to get into
Right,
it.
and while there's 1,000 people waiting.
And also because of the firing range, there's no,
It's
like
awkward,
the
yeah.
right lane, which is the appropriate lane,
Right.
splits into two because people who are merging in push the people in there out.
Right.
If there was like a clearer barrier before the firing range,
Mm-hmm.
then it would
Right.
then you'd be much more obnoxious coming across everybody. Like you're still obnoxious, but
From
like
the stables, you have 2 lanes coming in to the traffic circle. They have a yield, but the people in the traffic circle, so there's no real logical way that all of those lanes are supposed to come together in a structure.
Right.
Like you basically have almost 4 lanes that become 1 lane, but there's nothing in that to make it so that people would do that in an orderly fashion. So it's just mass chaos. So, like you said, like there is a proper design for traffic circles, but
Right.
ours were built during a time when people just rode around in their cars for like a good time to look at the scenery. But now people are trying to get around and actually use it as like a functional thing, and our traffic circles just aren't like able to do that. So it's just chaos every weekend during the summer.
Understood. I think, like I mentioned, we are endeavoring in this Pelham Bay Park access study that is going to determine future capital work, but there's nothing that precludes me from taking a look at what the circle operations are right now and seeing if we can make some safety improvements in the interim while we wait for the capital project.
Thank you.
Of course.
I'd like to add.
Absolutely.
So there is the yield sign that pretty much a lot of people just ignore it. But the other day, I want to say that there was a traffic agent at that yield sign, and he was doing the job that really works for everybody. So he was actually,
Directing
allowing people-
traffic,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. He was directing traffic,
Yeah.
not at the part where you're already kind of like on the road. You're already past the range. And because that's where all the congestion really happens. Everybody wants to skip the line and form the 4 lines going into one. But I had another question. It was
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is not pertaining to this. Are you in charge of the ferry as well? No. Okay. So then forget it.
Well, what do you mean when you say ferry, actually? Which ferry?
The city,
The Ferry Point Park ferry?
Yes, yeah.
that's EDC, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay, all right.
We will try to bring them to a future meeting, so do not worry.
Okay, because I wanted to find out if they're gonna extend the hours.
Unfortunately, I don't know that.
All right, good, all right.
Stephen?
I noticed it's somewhat addressed here, but we have two problems that can be pretty serious, especially on weekends. One is running red lights as well as speeding, especially down the fire line. People get frustrated. It can be islanders, by the way, in addition to off.
100%.
But there are times when it can become downright dangerous to be either a pedestrian or a bicyclist, or even in a car. Red light cameras and speed
Speed
monitors would be a much needed addition, I think, on the island. I know that they're present down by the school, and it really effectively slows everybody down. If those were at each intersection, and there aren't that many, there are only 4 stoplights after that going on the island. If they were effectively in place monitoring, I think it would seriously reduce that risk.
So we are currently expanding our red light cameras throughout the city. I have already suggested that City Island get additional locations. It's all based on our data. We're starting with the most dangerous intersections. And so we are happy to prioritize looking at City Island as a whole and then determining what locations would be appropriate for red light cameras. Same thing with speed cameras. We've been putting them throughout the city. And we're happy to take a look at the roadways within City Island. I know that City Island Rising has put in quite a few requests for speed cameras. And then the thing is that we don't say, yes, we're gonna give you a speed camera at a specific location. We will just, we will take a look at the criteria, we will take a look at the volumes, we'll take a look at the volume of pedestrians, we'll take a look at, are people running the stop sign, are people running the traffic light? And then we'll make a determination and the speed camera or the red light camera will just go in. So don't be alarmed if you get a response that's just like, we will consider this location for a future installation or something like that. It doesn't mean that it's a no, it just means that we're reviewing it, and if it meets the criteria, then we'll put the camera up.
And I know we've had a few emails back and forth about red light cameras, so I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, particularly, and I know you guys will determine where it's best needed.
Yeah.
I think that north end of the island that doesn't have speed cameras might be a good way to kind of make it more equitable for everyone involved, because they don't really have a lot of protection up on that side, and that's where kind of the restaurants are, and there's much more of a, I don't want to say traffic insurrection up there, but I think more traffic calming is needed up there. Let me be polite about that.
Understood. I'm happy to bring that to our automated enforcement team and see what we can do.
Carlene, and then we'll go to Cindy again. Yep.
Well, I don't know where to begin, but actually, it's a continuation of what this person said and what Steve said about the speeding and about the passing and the fire lane speed on the bridge. I'm panicked and hysterical about it every time. I mean, the other Saturday afternoon, normally a really busy time, there was no backup line. I couldn't believe it at 6 p.m. It's surprising. And 4 cars literally pulled out and went 60 miles an hour at the bridge.
Wow.
Meanwhile, those traffic agents or whatever you call them, they are not in their car. They were at the rail, looking into the marina. They have never been effective of monitoring anything as far as I can see. You may have another side of the story, but something, we can't put this into a study that's going to happen in 6 months. It has to happen now.
Well, the bridge is city DOT. That's not contingent upon the study. So I'm happy to take a look at additional, traffic calming measures within the bridge. That's fully within city DOT's purview. I also wanted to say that traffic agents, we work closely with NYPD. They're the ones that supply traffic agents. Those are not from DOT. I'm happy to take a look at the data that they've collected from the amount of times that they've been out here to see if we need additional measures. But we're happy to work with them to get additional traffic agents within City Island.
You need additional. You just need the people who are there
To behave. Yeah.
They're in sight, Duncan. They're over in the park, they're not there.
And I think
They're
that,
inside the car, instead of directing traffic.
They're totally ineffective.
they're not working effectively, understood. I can give that feedback.
It's more
We
doesn't
have
mean
More doesn't help.
better.
I hear you. We meet regularly with NYPD. I'm happy to let them know that, and so that we can work together to try to address this issue. Like I said, the bridge is fully within my purview, so I'm happy to talk to our bridges division about what else we can do. That fire lane is provided for emergency access. We don't want to put anything in there that would block an emergency vehicle from being able to get to the island. And so that kind of limits what we can do to kind of block people from accessing that space. But your concerns are heard. I feel like I can talk to our bridges division, come back to you all and see what other design options we can try.
It's bad,
Yeah,
it's
no.
really bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only person.
No,
Everyone-
no
No,
one says that.
I'm
No
hearing
one
it.
says
I see a lot of people nodding about the concerns that you're bringing up. So I can take a look and then come back to you all with a future determination.
Okay, let's go to Cindy, then Cheryl.
Okay, so I just want to add to that, because I've been living on City Island for 21 years now, and since I've been living here, most fatalities have been at the bridge. And I can tell you that you can put as many cameras as you want. The people who violate the laws do not care about the laws. So it doesn't matter. If you have a presence, a police presence, that's different. A camera's not gonna really do anything to them because they don't have registration, they don't have, license. These are the things that we're dealing with, right? These are the people who violate, who are committing the crimes, to the extent of there's life involved in there. I don't know what happened. The last fatality that occurred, I don't know the details, but it was at the bridge. And that's exactly what always has happened, is at that bridge, where there's there's no visibility, where you should know, there's no signs. I think we need more signage, I don't know, something, because that's
So alert folks
that's
that
where
they're gonna be
exactly.
approaching onto the bridge.
And before, I was driving in, and 5 cars went zooming past me on the fire lane, that bridge, and that's it. This is where everything has happened. So it doesn't matter that we have 20 cameras on City Island Avenue, clocking us for, a 36 miles per hour ticket. That really doesn't mean anything, because we're going over the speed limit, but that's not what's really, protecting us. The real protection is having the people staffed here, cops or whatever.
The traffic agents, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, so the traffic agents.
Okay, yeah, we're happy to work with NYPD to try to provide additional resources.
Just on that point, I do think, not disagreeing, but I think another thing people mentioned, which I know I put in the email, a lot of people who are on bicycles, and there was a fatality on the bridge, and I do see the memorial that Cindy's talking about. They wanted to know if they could put either bulwarks or some sort of quick curb there, some sort of protection there for the pedestrians. When it was the old bridge, there was the railings from the overhead thing kind of hung around it, so there was kind of a built-in protection for pedestrians that made people feel safe. And as you know, because you came here just recently, there are 3 different memorials from the bridge to the park. So people don't feel, there's a perception of people feeling unsafe. Bullets aren't going to correct everything, Cindy's right about that, but I think that would be a very tangible way to make people who are walking or on their bicycles feel safer on the bridge. And I know that's something you need to look into. I know in the past sanitation has said, well, if they do that, they can't clean the bridge. Well, this winter was a very good test run of that, and they don't clean the bridge anyway. So we don't need to worry about that because they're not doing that. So just please keep that in mind. Cheryl, thank you for your patience. You can go ahead. I know you had a
Well, that's
question.
another meeting.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And you said just exactly what I wanted to say, and you said it louder, thank you. But I have noticed something because I live 2 doors down from here. It's not just there. People run every light on purpose. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After a certain hour here at night, the lights seem to
Is
be
there-
advisory, and that's why a red light camera.
Red light camera
would be
expansion would be
helpful.
helpful.
Because
It's not going to solve every problem.
Right.
I get it. I get your
But
point.
no, that's a revenue collector. A cop would be better, because the people who are doing that, are the people who are who don't have a license, who don't have an insurance, they don't care about following the law, a cop can arrest them, and that's what we remove
Yeah.
these people from the
So,
community.
I agree with you.
Yes.
I would also just point out, because I was on the precinct council for a number of years, there are only 4 sector cars in this whole precinct, which is the largest in the city of New York. We have in here the largest shopping mall in the city of New York. We have East Tremont Avenue, which is the Bronx's 2nd Avenue. We have Co-op City, which if left to its own devices would be the 11th largest city in the state of New York. We have Pelham Bay Station and 4 stops on the 6th line. And we have 3 different highways that go through the neighborhood. I'm not making excuses, I'm just putting this all in a proper context. I wish we would have a dedicated cop car that just did City Island.
Yeah.
I agree with you, it'd make things safer. I feel that person's job would largely be traffic. If we can't do that, and I'm not for putting a speed camera on every single intersection, but I do think a red light camera would curb that behavior. There are studies that you guys have done that shows that when they put the red light cameras, it does stop things, because if it hits people in the pocketbook, their hearts and minds do sometimes follow. Not all the time. I get some of your other criticisms, I'm just pointing that out.
And I just want to add that the goal is that we work together, right? Like NYPD only has so many resources, so DOT has come in with automated enforcement to try to supplement.
So that's the application of adding resources to NYPD, because that's where we want the resources to go to.
Very good point.
Understood.
Very good
But
point.
I
Go ahead.
think it's more than that. I think we need, especially this group, John, over
Yeah.
the years, you've been famous for having the group that really gets things done. And one of the things I can see is that if it's totally unacceptable
Yeah.
for people to run red lights that live here.
Yeah.
And we need to have maybe some extra meetings to talk about how we do that.
Yeah.
Because we really do have a lot of clout amongst ourselves.
That's a good point. That's a
What
good.
about speed bumps?
So we have a request in on that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, right at the end of
Yes.
the bridge, the speed
Why don't
bump.
I let you answer?
Yeah, so we have done speed hump studies. I will say that we don't install speed humps on bus routes. We do have something called speed cushions that we can explore. And then it's just a little bit more challenging for, actually most of this roadway is 1 lane in each direction. So we can take a look at speed hump studies, but I will say that for bus routes, we don't install speed humps, we install speed cushions. They're just a little bit lower and a little more easier for bus riders as they're going along the route. And especially for any sort of like larger vehicle that's also traversing the roadway.
And we have put in for those in the past, but if we could put in for them again,
Sure.
absolutely. And we do
a
have,
lot of the like racing.
I just want to
The
point
drag
out,
racing?
Yeah.
working with the commissioner and others, we do have 2 speed cushion or speed hump studies that are going on right now. One's on Miniford Avenue, because we get a lot of complaints on Miniford Avenue from all my Miniford Avenue people, and there are many of you. And then also from Pilot Street. On both sides of Pilot Street, people would like the speed humps there, so they are examining those things. So just so you know, they are, I do this because Commissioner and others deserve credit, they are doing some of this work already, that's why I put it on the sheet. Nancy, you go ahead and then we'll do.
Okay, yeah, I was originally gonna ask what was a cushion, but, my late husband actually requested a stop sign on Miniford, because it's mostly the locals who get so
Yes.
disgruntled with traffic from off Islanders that they then take the back road and speed down. And, you know, I mean, I've had my dog was hit by someone who was speeding and died. About
I'm
10
so
years
sorry
ago.
about that.
So, you know, like that happens because people are in a rush to get somewhere and they're careless. They don't really think about that. And, you know,
And
a child was recently hit also.
And that's the when we put in for the daylighting on
Yes.
Bedford and Cross, this is the particular intersection we're talking about.
Yeah.
That
Understood.
intersection, due to some of the shrubbery, due to kind of the narrow configuration of the street, it's very difficult to leave Cross Street from that direction where there is a condo complex and to see everything that goes on.
Understood.
So if there's anything we can, I'm not saying daylighting is always whatever can be done there to
Yes.
enhance visibility to make it safer, and I leave that to you because you're the expert, we are not,
Yeah.
that would be very helpful.
DOT would like to explore, when we do daylighting, we like to, what we call is harden it, so that nobody ends up parking in it or, you know, illegally blocking that space, because then that visibility doesn't actually work. So we're looking to expand hardened daylighting and happy to take a look at this location for that.
Great. So we have Millie, then Kevin.
One of the things I also live right down on Hawkins is that I know a few people that go to work very early, and I have to say that some city islanders just, speed ahead, or they take the fire lane because they're in a hurry, and they should know better. That's unsafe for their neighbors, for their children, for everyone. And we've noticed an increase in that, and it's bad enough when other people do it, but we should know better. I don't know how to make that any clearer to residents.
That's unfortunate. That's an illegal condition. Nobody should be speeding down any of these roadways.
Or the lights, it's like an afterthought. Well, maybe I'll stop, maybe I won't.
What about a civility campaign on City Island?
I mean, if there was messaging that you guys have that you bring out to the community, we would be happy to maybe do a volunteer.
We actually have a whole safety education team that will come out, and they have a lot of resources to kind of educate folks, especially maybe with the restaurants, as people are coming to conduct business here, to kind of educate them on how they're supposed to behave.
And not even just that, but if you even
Happy
by
to
the
do that.
supermarket, because I think what we're getting at here, which I appreciate, it's City Islanders too.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they're outside the supermarket for one day,
Yeah.
just getting to the rank and file person, or outside the coffee shop or the diner or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not saying any one of these places has a particular large amount of speeders. I want to be very clear because it's being recorded. I'm just saying something that gets a good mixture of the neighborhood. Sometimes appreciated. Kevin, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, nice to meet you. Two things. First, DOT should be responsible because your whole responsibility is pedestrian and cycling and safety on the streets. Should be responsible for enforcement. It should be taken away from NYPD to a certain extent, and DOT should take over that responsibility. That's not a discussion. That's just my point of view. I want to bring it out because maybe in 10 years that'll be the case. Second is, as you drove here today, there's an area. Basically, let me ask about the bridge. Do you know anything or any kind of update on the replacement of the Pelham Bay or the Shore Road Bridge? And I'm really getting into that because of the slip lane that heads up to City Island Road there.
I don't have any update on that bridge, but I'm happy to take a look to see if our Bridges Division is doing anything about either one of those. This is the location where there's a lot of flooding.
I call it flooding, but the bridge is supposed to be replaced at some point. That's already been determined. As you cross over the bridge towards City Island, you make that first right, that's City Island Road. And there's that slip lane there. I can tell you it's potting, it's gravel, there's no curb, it's not.
It's kind of like the moon landing.
There's no right way across the street, that little triangle, there's already a ghost bike.
And I did put in a complaint, I'm just building on this, and your team did go out and they paved over part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. It's still got some issues there.
Okay.
And over by Orchard Beach Road, which I know is one of Stephen's popular locations, when you make the turn from Orchard Beach Road onto Park Drive there,
Yes.
it's also, and at one point they had the orange cone was submerged into the pothole to
Because it was so
warn
bad.
of how bad it is. So really, and again, I appreciate because working with you, the Deputy Mayor's Office, DEP, there have been small-scale resurfacings of different parts,
Yes.
but there are other parts of it that just aren't, that are still very bad. I just should keep that in mind because everyone here is probably paying hundreds of dollars every winter getting those flat tires and needing the tire changes. And I got one yesterday, so I hear you. Coincidentally, and I hear you all. So just anything we can do to prioritize, even if it's small-scale resurfacings, but when we do the, and I don't want to seem ungrateful because I know you do send your teams out here, and I do appreciate that you are responsive and your team is responsive, but the filler for the potholes,
Yes.
I find sometimes that goes over in a few weeks, or if it's a really bad weather condition, it doesn't always stick. So just ask you to keep that in mind as well.
I would like to add to that, because that's one thing that it's a pet peeve. It gets me upset, because I'd rather have the hole than when they try to patch it and there's a huge lump. And I feel like during when there's snow removal, if they're gonna come with a plow, that's what happens. It's that's gonna be shaved off, with the snow removal, with the plows and everything. So I'd rather, can they just, I don't know how it works. I really don't know how the whole process works, but if they could just try to smooth it out and not leave a lump there, because I'd rather maybe just the hole instead of the lump.
Well, I know that, so they're supposed to roll it. It's supposed to be smooth, and then they pour, the tar around it to kind of settle it. However, I will say there was a whole pothole blitz this year, because the amount of potholes this year was tremendous. So I know we were working as quickly as we could to fill them all. I know that sometimes the fix is not perfect, but we're working as hard as we can to just address as many of those conditions as we can.
Quality assurance, like someone who goes after it just look like, I don't know, I just.
Yes, there's actually a photo taken of every pothole that is filled.
Good. All right, cool, thank you.
Nilda, and then Stephen, go ahead.
Just a question, who's responsible for sidewalks?
The property owners.
You mean in front of the property, or which sidewalk are we talking about here?
Sidewalks are the responsibility of the property owner.
I thought New York City passed a law about New York City being responsible for the sidewalks.
So City DOT has a program through which we will do sidewalks for 1 to 3 family homes, but we bill the property owner when we finish for the work because it's the responsibility of the property owner to fix. I know, this happens a lot where people get confused about because City DOT takes care of the roadways, but the sidewalks are the responsibility of the property owner. Mm-hmm. And so we can come out and inspect any locations. However, if there is a sidewalk defect, that will trigger a notice of violation, which will put a lien on the property.
And the other thing was, how were these jobs handed out? Is it to the lowest bidder, like with the sidewalk repair, with the,
Yeah, like who
with
did my corner?
Because some of the work that is being done is a little shabby.
It's
So-
awful. It's not
So is it the lowest bidder that gets the job, or do you have criteria?
So for the pedestrian ramps, that's actually done by our crews. So we have a little bit more of a say on those. I will say for the contracts that I was just referring to for 1 to 3 family homes, those are managed by DDC, Department of Design and Construction. And that is a situation where we would have to go with the lowest
So
bidder.
why did all of the corners on City Island Avenue get done multiple times?
That part I'm not sure of, at this moment, but I can take a look at that and figure out what happened. I don't know if multiple, so when contractors are doing work, they are also required to update the pedestrian ramps if there's work in the area, like the Miniford project that's happening, that DDC is doing on behalf of Department of Environmental Protection. They are doing all the ramps. That isn't being done by us, so I have to take a look at who exactly did your ramp. I don't know if you got a chance to see where they're wearing DOT vests.
No, there's some company from Staten Island that.
Oh, okay. So let me take a look at that location and see who actually did that work, and we can hold them responsible.
Okay, but it wasn't, and just to be clear, it
Yeah.
wasn't just our corner that was done 3 times?
It was multiple corners. Okay.
Multiple
That one
corners.
right there.
This one right here?
Just redone.
We'll get together a list of all these.
Do you know what year it was done before? I'm sorry, I'm
I've
just
had it done
trying to
3
get more
times in the
information.
last 2 calendar years.
2 calendar years, wow, okay.
That one was probably done 2 years ago.
Okay.
And that was just redone in the last week and a half.
So we don't understand why.
I can take a look at what happened here because that's unusual, that's not supposed to be the case. Once they're updated, we usually leave them
And
open.
then, I apologize, is there a way that you could require them to notify the surrounding people so that they don't just show up?
So they're supposed to go into the adjacent property owner and give a notice. That's why I'm saying I'm not sure who did this work because our contractors, normally they will go in and give a notice. And there'll be notices posted on the adjacent guardrails.
No, we have 0 of those things.
Interesting, okay, let me take a look at that and I can get back to you with more information.
Thank you.
We're gonna go one more time around. We did get a few email questions or questions on the Facebook or anything else, so I'm gonna try to weave those in as well. But does anyone who didn't get it, I know these ladies over here, did you guys want to ask a question just before we move on to everybody else's turn, sir?
I'm just wondering about the pavement of the street and bridge from the construction that's been done over a year ago
Yes.
for the flooding. The bridge is still very rocky, so when is that gonna happen on the roadway?
The roadway work on Bridge Street, you're saying? That's being done by Department of Design and Construction. So that should be redone by the end of the contract.
Do you know when that's supposed to be by chance?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think they have much work to do, but usually the resurfacing is the last part that they do because they like to leave the roadway open, get all the utility work done, and then once they finish, they come in and close it.
I'll email DDC tomorrow. Miss, did you have anything before we move? Okay, all right. No worries. Okay, Cheryl, go ahead.
Sorry, I keep
No,
raising
no,
my
you're
hand.
fine.
But you mentioned the safety education team.
Yes.
And that's something that if you could do rather quickly,
Yes.
it would give us something to do and
Yes.
some control.
Especially now in the summertime where I'm sure it's the busiest time of the year. So yeah, we'd be happy to come out here.
And we have control anyway. I walked across the place where the corner was dug up, and it's not been 2 years, it's been less than that. And I was going, why are we doing this again?
Oh
Because I
goodness.
always parked my car right there.
Stephen, go ahead.
So could we have your team come in?
Yes.
When?
Happy to. Send me an email and then I can see what their schedules look like and we can plan a date and a time to kind of come out here and target some of the intersections.
And it might even be something where after, and we appreciate that very much, maybe one day we'll table outside the supermarket or some other areas for a day and give out the pamphlets or the other helpful information they have.
Yeah.
Stephen, go ahead, then
Very
Millie,
quick
and then...
question. It'd be ideal to have crosswalks at more intersections, but they seem to be isolated to stoplights.
Yes.
Is there a law or a city ordinance that restricts that?
Yes, so we will only install a crosswalk marking if there is a stop control because we don't want to guide pedestrians to go somewhere that isn't actually safe for them to cross.
All right. Okay. We've been tempted to paint our own.
I don't recommend, but
Okay.
At night.
Yeah, exactly. So this one came from someone who was emailing in before the meeting started.
Sure.
So this is from Rupert, if you're watching online. I will not be the only one who wants the stream of traffic in Pelham Bay Park, watches the stream of traffic in Pelham Bay Park and crosses onto Pelham Bay, on City Island to honor the 20 to 25 traffic mile per hour speed limits, speeding vehicles impeded with stern enforcement, or even old school speed bumps. So I guess what they're trying to bring up is just that really when people are coming over the bridge, there is a really big speeding concern.
okay.
As you got from other people here.
Yeah.
And I did, just so Rupert and anyone else knows, since I got this email before the meeting started, I actually took my time and I was coming over here to meet everybody. And there are, right on the bridge, the first pole when you get off the bridge.
Yes.
Up there, miles, 20 per hour.
Yeah.
So there is, I can't say there's not a sign.
Yeah.
I checked it myself, and when you get to the bridge, it does, on one of those smaller yellow signs, it does say 15 miles an hour. I don't know if there's a way we can augment that.
Enhance that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a you questions, but it seems to me that if the signs are there and it's not accomplishing the purpose we're all saying it doesn't.
Yeah.
The speed
Our-
limit is in the park.
In the park, I believe it's 30.
Yeah. I believe it's a standard 25.
Can you, would it be possible, just because we do have the slow zone here,
Yes.
could you explain a little bit the slow zone? Because, it was brought out, and I guess the question has been like, what's being enforced here? Obviously, we have the 2 speed cameras, and we see those.
Mhm.
But what's, in terms of the slow zone itself, like, what data, is there anything you can update us on with that?
Sure. So actually, our Research Implementation and Safety team implements the regional slow zones. City Island was selected for the Bronx. They're currently collecting data, and I'm going to share that once it's available. I believe it's been almost a year that we've actually installed it, so we're going to come back and share data with everybody on how it's going. That's actually how we're able to pull also additional resources from NYPD to enforce regional slow zones. We're working very closely with them. We're also doing school slow zones. So all of these tools that DOT is using, we're working very closely with NYPD, and they're coming out to provide additional resources to ensure that the speed reductions are being monitored.
Okay.
I know one of those, and I just want to run it by you.
Sure.
They have many studies that have shown that art in places like coming over the bridge slows down the traffic. And they said something about it even causes a sensation within drivers so that they slow down to look at it, just like a cop car does.
Okay. Well, there is actually a DOT art program that we've wanted to apply for in the past.
Yes.
So I'm going to call on you to be volunteer your
And we
talents
have
and
lots
abilities.
of artists
Yes.
on this.
We're always looking for opportunities for beautification, so happy to partner with you
Yes.
guys if you have somebody.
Let's fill out an application for that. That's great.
Please.
Stephen, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
2 questions. The first thing is, any thought to blinking yellow light like going over the bridge. A mechanical, regular.
You're saying in the center of the bridge,
Or
or?
sidewalk leaning out into the roadway.
We don't usually put those on bridges, but I can have our signals team take a look and see if we would be able to put that. John, I'm not sure if you're able to send me an email for that, and I'm happy to take a look at that request.
My second question, the abandoned scooters,
Okay.
which are on,
Right by the circles.
right, has to be at least 6 or 8 of them.
Okay, so we're actually expanding corrals within Pelham Bay Park because we have heard this concern that they're being dumped, and we want to make sure that they're actually stored properly. So we're actually going to be installing additional corrals within Pelham Bay Park.
But how does that work? When a person rents a scooter,
Mhm.
they use a credit card to get the scooter?
Right.
So if it's not returned to the proper place,
Well, so right
maybe-
now-
Maybe there should be something in place where if they apply for
Mhm.
another scooter and they put the credit card in, it's gonna be
So
denied.
without a corral, you can technically put it in the next safest location. There's nothing restricting you from parking it on a sidewalk that you see that's available. So that's why I'm saying we're expanding corrals, because that will then force you cannot end the ride without putting it in the designated location. And so hopefully that will help with this collection of corrals that you're,
Half a dozen or 8.
I'm sorry, a collection of scooters that you're
And
seeing.
Commissioner, it looks like there's been like several abductions, like by aliens or something, the way these
No.
things are arranged. So I agree with that. Did anyone else have a question over here? Okay, so we have another one. This is from Daph. Daph said, I am really concerned about the speeding on King Avenue between Ditmars and Fordham Street.
Okay.
I know we put in the past for a speed hump to be put there. I know one was, but there's still a lot of concerns about speeding in that location, so I guess we might have to put something else in on that.
Okay.
And then it's being treated like a thoroughfare, and it's really dangerous. Many people and animals are out, walkers, joggers, kids, cyclists, etc. And then the animals, dogs being walked, neighborhood cats, the possums, skunks, and raccoons that we all need for our ecosystem. Can a speed camera be installed there? I apologize, Cindy's probably going to yell at me for saying that, but I appreciate, yeah.
So usually locations that already have a speed hump we won't install a speed camera.
All right. So, but a speed hump, possibly. Yeah, she says here the DOT installed the speed hump, but it doesn't deter speeding at all. Now, I will say it's on a farther side.
Okay.
It's not in the center
Okay.
of that particular area, and I know there are a lot of bungalows there, so I think there's a lot of parking going on there. I know that's a concern for you guys, but there might be a need for an additional speed hump there. Also,
We can take a look at an additional speed hump.
all right, and also Pelham Cemetery is there, so we will. I'll put here King Ave between Ditmars and Fordham, and I'll put in the request and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Then we had the last question from our online contingent here. This one comes from Anthony. From City Island Shore Road all the way to Stillwell Avenue, there are no street signs. At some point, it changes from Pelham Parkway and is not marked. Can we get street signs installed, as calling 911 for this location is impossible without a street to give?
So it sounds to me like there is a street signage concern, and so I'm just going to have our borough engineering team come out and start from the circle all the way into the island and assess that all the appropriate signage is up to date and installed.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
CERN. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Thank you for coming.
Of course.
Yeah, I was just suggesting maybe get some real cops with a spot check. You know, once in a while, so we can't word we get out, and maybe people wouldn't. Yeah, anyways, real cops out there.
I'll share that with LMP.
And the trees, who's responsible for trees and on sidewalks, planting them?
Planting trees would be the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Okay. Because, yeah, I know we did the sidewalks earlier, but, you know, the trees, these huge trees grow underneath the sidewalks and they hazards. And so.
Well, any tree damage, the property owner is not responsible for. Parks actually has their own program through which they will do the work and the homeowner doesn't get billed or any sort of lien on their property.
So for sidewalks that are damaged by trees,
They won't get any violation. Any violation, Parks will come out and through another DBC contract, they will come and assess that location and repair.
Yeah, I just put in a request. I haven't gotten a response yet, but I put in, there's a website where you can say.
Yes, a web form.
Here's
Mhm.
the property and there's a tree that's causing
Commissioner, on that end, the street lamps within the park, usually you call in and you have to give the number of the street lamp, or you can in the web form. All the street lamps in the park have been painted over. So we can't even give a number to articulate what lamp we're talking about. So I don't know if there's something you can do with your teams to make sure they put the numbers back on the poles so we can correctly identify which poles are out, which ones aren't. A lot of people out here, Stephen being among them, but David of our team and a few others, they'll actually go out and get you the numbers, exactly which ones are working and which ones aren't. But without the numbers, it's more difficult to do.
And when you say painted over, like like it's there, but it's literally just painted. Okay, yeah, I'm happy to have our team.
This was decades ago. Or a decade ago. It's not sometime recently. It's not a new thing. It's been there for a while.
Understood. Yeah, the circle. I'm sure it's like hard to figure out which corner are we talking about. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Does anyone else have a? Kim, go ahead.
Revisit one thing.
Yes.
The signs. I know I was just looking, because I find that when I'm coming through the park onto the bridge, that I am oftentimes driving faster than I should. And then I get kind of up and I'm like, oh, I gotta slow down, and I do. But I was just looking at the signs, and the speed limit signs like around that area are like they're miniature versions of the signs. They're not like full speed limit signs, so maybe if we made them a little bit more obvious, they're like kind of a sign paired with another sign sort of thing. So when they look at the signs, maybe they could.
Can I add that the state is 40 miles an hour, and that's state
That's
provision.
Yeah.
Then it turns into city,
and then
it's
it
back down to
becomes
20 or 25.
Right,
On both sides of like the Hutch Parkway.
Right, because you're coming up. Yeah, that's a fair point. I'm happy to, like I said, our engineering team is going to come out. I'll let them know that specific concern so that they can look at it. It might be a discrepancy between like where it changes from state to city, but happy to take a look at it because we do maintenance on behalf of the state anyways.
I don't even know what the speed limit is most of the time. Like, I mean, I zip through the park admittedly because
everyone
does.
Going on.
I mean, it's kind of fun, but I know once I get out of there that I should slow down. But I think if there was a sign that said like, this is
right when you're coming off,
here, because it's like a little yellow one, and it's not the regular kind. That would be maybe a little bit more like in people's faces to, because if they're kind of going fast, I know some people are just maniacs.
Yeah.
But if they're already sort of tooling around because you're in the park and there's nothing in your way to stop you, then a reminder that hey, now you're approaching a residential area with the speed limit might be helpful.
Yeah, happy to do that. Maybe we can expand some of the slow zone signs to kind of address that people are literally coming into a very different regional slow zone, which isn't a part of the rest of the Bronx, but is a part of this location.
That would be great. That would really be great. To that end, just building on what Kim said, one of the most common requests we get, particularly during the summer months, are that people have been speeding, and those yield signs and those stop signs, I don't know if people are knocking them over to score points or whatever the hell they're doing, but they're frequent. If there are ways to protect them or give them a little bit more cushion because they're getting knocked down with increasing frequency.
Okay.
So this, by both the traffic circles. What?
People don't know what yield means.
People don't know what yield, it is in the traffic manual when you get your learner's permit, I will point that out, so that's a more of a DMV, but yeah, no, I mean.
They think it means speed. Speed up.
And some of them stop dead at the yield sign, even if there's
right,
nothing
you're
there,
supposed to
that's
slow
not
down
what
as
either,
it
yeah.
approaches.
Now, let 100 do.
Yeah. Very fair, very fair. So if there's things we can do to protect those signs, because I feel your team has to come out, and they do come out to their credit, I'm not knocking anybody here.
Yeah.
But they must have to come out 20 times every summer to repair those signs, because by the Bartow Circle, by the City Island Circle, up by, from Orchard Beach to Park Drive, like they always get knocked down.
I can have our borough engineer. They would have the records because they're the ones that have to come out and replace them constantly. So I can take a look at those records and see if we have anything more sturdy.
And I believe this is part of the Pelham Bay construction. I'm going to build on something Kevin said. When you come over the Pelham Bay Bridge, there's it's a walking bike lane area, and it's really great. It's really wonderful. But because cars sometimes are speeding over the bridge, if there could be something put there to protect those people as they're coming over, I feel it's like the curb gets short and
for the most part there's no
It's the
curb.
curb,
But there's nothing.
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
And so then you're kind of like in the roadway.
The sewer is
Understood.
actually sticking out now.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Understood.
Great.
So that would be,
Happy to take a look at that. Mhm.
And I got a couple locations like that.
and everybody, the commissioner's been,
Please send them to me.
I would
Yes.
write it all down as we go there. The commissioner's been super generous with her time. Let's all be team members here.
Yes.
Everybody can fill out the Pelham Bay Access Study tonight or tomorrow. They can take a sheet when they go. I printed like 30 sheets, so everyone here can have one. Let's all take these home. Let's all make this our one assignment. It's 10 minutes. So everyone got homework tonight. But take it home, get your family members, fill it out. You know, anyone who you know who really cares about these issues. Each one teaches one, right? We can all do something to build out the input they're getting. Because when Darissa and her colleagues sit down and they go through this, I want there to be 100 to 200 10464 people sharing all the concerns we have about the park, the
Yeah,
flooding,
support
the
that,
lights,
please.
the roadways. Because then we'll be able to go back and, not you wouldn't do this, but other people like, oh, we didn't hear from you. We'll be like, oh, no, we did. We sent over 100 responses. So everyone tonight, please take one of those on your way out the door. We want to make sure our voices are heard. This is one of those examples where we're a small community of 4,500, but we're known to elevate our voices, work in coordination, we vote. So people really, if you participate, you're going to get noticed, and I encourage you to do that here. Does anyone else have a question for the commissioner before we're gracious on her for her time, and we let her sit down and enjoy the rest of her evening?
Thank you.
All right, let's give her a round of applause. You were great.
Thank you so much. Yes. Okay. So, I'll just go through things very quickly here. I think this has been a wonderful meeting, and I really appreciate everyone who was here and the way everybody just built on what each other was saying, was respectful of other people's input. We don't all need to agree. We just need to be civil with each other, and everyone has a viewpoint that deserves to be heard. As long as they can do it in a respectful way, we give everybody their time here, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, you have down here the 6 DOT requests we still have open. There were a few more that the commissioner and I corresponded back and forth with, which were the frequent ones, the ones like you mentioned, markings by the bridge. So she has those already, because we wanted to make sure before she came here, she knew all the frequent concerns. I'm sure she knows everything that comes before her desk, but just what was coming out of these meetings. For the crosswalk update, everyone saw the crosswalk, and it's on Carroll Street. I know Kim was a part of that, West Roundtree, everyone else. We're going to do the other one over here by Fordham Street. Unfortunately, we went out there one night, and I mean, to say it was a downfall kind of puts downfalls to shame. I feel like we're being punished by the gods above, but we are hopefully going to get out there this week before the Snugs Big Pride event, which is...
Are we going to have cops? Because that was not...
We are working on that as well, yes. The cops should be there. Absolutely.
Cops with a car, specifically.
Yes, I am working, I hear you. I'm working on it. Kim, to her credit, is out there all the time with us. She's a much better painter than I am, and I appreciate you as well. But just so you know, we are working on those things. It's temporary. It'll be gone next month. So I just remind people who might not otherwise be inclined. On the ferry efforts, we have had our conference call with AOC's office. We're hoping she'll get on board with our Yes City on Ferry effort. So as of right now, Senator Fernandez, Assemblymember Benedetto, and Councilwoman Aldebal all support the effort to bring a ferry to City Island. So we just actually renewed the QR code in our on our posters, which has been renewed for another year. So that costs money, but we want everyone, yescityonferry.com. Send an email. It goes to the borough president. It goes to your elected officials, and it helps us build the cause. We're doing our multimedia campaign. We've gotten some really good ideas from some of the business owners, some very creative ideas. So Sean, being our producer here, I'm going to tap you for your help with some of these, if that's okay. Absolutely. And as I said earlier, a company submitted a request for a cultural resource assessment of the ferry, so we're putting that here. And I actually got a wonderful idea from someone who I know, who I grew up with on City Island, has since moved away, but he had a very good idea that we should go to one of the business schools and see if they can do a report about how much the ferry would generate economic activity here. So I'm going to be reaching out to Fordham University and maybe Manhattan College as well. Manhattan University now, I'm sorry, I don't want to give this in CUNY.
I know the dean.
There we go. So let's get something together. These are more arguments that we can make that could spur economic activity. We all know this, but it is helpful when you bring in some of the smart people in the room to write up a report and make a white paper, and it's helpful to our cause here. So we're going to work on that. Additionally, we're going to be doing a Know Your Rights training. We were planning to wait till the fall to do this because it's very difficult to plan things in the summer months, as we all know. However, given some recent comments, we may need to move this up. So if you see something that the Know Your Rights event is happening in the summer, it's based on what we're hearing. And this is going to be similar to what we did about a year ago. We'll bring in an attorney. We have kind of the information, so we'll get that out to all of you. Beyond these, hold on, did I put this on here? Does anyone have any additional concerns, community concerns not related to DOT that need to be addressed? Milda, go ahead.
I'm
No,
sorry, and
don't apologize,
all
you're
due
good.
respect. The trees along the sidewalk and all that grass growing around the trees with the tree beds, I don't know what.
Where exactly?
Along the avenue, like I like walking down the avenue.
Yeah.
And so if I were someone coming to City Island and I see garbage in there and I see this grass growing wildly and I don't know if that would be a good impression.
That's very fair. In past years, for many years, the Garden Club took care of that. They were getting grants from the city. I know this has been something, we have a new council member, Councilwoman Eldebal, and I know street cleaning is very high on her agenda, particularly for City Island. And we've had some comments with her. The city's about to do its budget, so I'm interested to see where they're going to possibly come out here and do more street cleaning. A lot of the business improvement districts do a lot of this, and with the tree beds like you talked about. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Because it's.
You see this in Morris Park and Proximate. Yeah.
Building and the garbage is just outside bags, trash bags.
Totally.
All over.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk offline, but definitely something I think we can all work on together. Do you have something you want to do?
There's a cat shelter, there's like an animal shelter in the back of there. And those animals, no, just on the thing, and those skunks live there, and then they eat the bags of garbage in the same building.
Okay.
So if you recommend they get rid of their shelter, which is supposed to be saving animals, which it's not, those animals wouldn't eat the garbage in the bags that are left on the corner. Because it's the
This is
same.
on Early Street we're talking about?
Yeah, there's like this little hut thing in the back. That like possums live in there, and squirrels live in there.
All right. Let's see what we can do for that offline. Carlene, go ahead.
John, even a bigger pet peeve than the traffic and the speeding and the centering are the trees. So I've been a landscape designer for a few decades, and the trees on this island, they're just plain ugly.
Okay.
I mean, the new ones and the little ones are great, but what Con Ed has done, I mean, the trees need to be pruned, and they're especially gross in the winter because they don't have leaves on them. They're just growing in all crazy directions.
Are
And
there
as
a
matter
few
of
we
fact-
can highlight and bring to someone's
There's been
attention?
a lot of pruning going on lately, somewhere.
Well, there are a few.
They were just
Yeah,
looking
maybe
for
there's a
things
few
that
that she's talking about that Carlene's talking about that we can
Up and
highlight.
down the avenue, I mean,
All right.
I go right up and down. And they just, and they're also a danger point because ultimately, those Norwegian maples that are here and there, those limbs are just gonna split right off and fall in somebody or someone's car.
Okay.
It's really, it's gross.
Why don't one day I'll walk the island with you and we'll try to figure out the top 5 worst locations and let's try to address those.
I'd be glad to.
Okay. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have anything in open forum? Okay, I can't check that right now, but if you left a comment there, I will get back to you on the Facebook. On the elected officials reports, Katarine was going to be here from AOC's office. She wasn't feeling well, so she went home. But we've been working with them about marine debris removal, particularly the boat between the Pelham Bay Park and the Pelham Bay and Hutchinson River bridges. And I guess the next time she comes, there may be an announcement, so just stay tuned on that. But things are looking in the right direction to finally get that big boat removed, which would be a good thing because it just kind of sits out there, not making the area look good. With respect to some of the things you've all brought up in the meetings lately, as it relates to utility bills, car insurance, things along that nature. A few things are going on here with let's start with the rebates. It should be, I believe it's, I'm looking for it here as we're all on the phone we're all here together. I believe there's going to be over $1 billion in rebates. I think it applies that everybody gets somewhere between, the power program will provide $200 to joint filers with incomes under $150 and $150 to joint filers between $150,000 and $300,000. Single filers with incomes under $100 will receive $100, and the rebates will be issued as advanced credit checks and will be mailed out between September and December. These are called power checks. So people should be getting these. These are meant to offset some of the horrible utility rates. Also, they're looking into other reforms of the utility companies, and particularly more reforms to the PSC, which is the Public Service Commission, which is ostensibly supposed to regulate the utility companies. We all know they're not doing a good job at that, but there's a lot of utility reforms they're planning in the coming months. So I'm going to have this here. This is from the governor. A lot of the stuff was in the budget. Also in the budget, they have passed a tort reform act for car insurance bills, and they've kind of folded all the potential fraud going back into the state police, and they kind of based this all on Florida. I guess Florida took many of these steps, and it led to a dramatic reduction in premiums. I think premiums went down close to 7.4% reduction of average rates the year after they implemented this. What's going on right now is the way the law is set up, when cars are getting into accidents, the insurance companies are automatically paying out, and a lot of people realize you can make a lot of money doing it. So as a result, they've been hiring attorneys. There's been a whole issue here. So we based it off what Florida did, and basically they are trying to reverse the double-digit growth that has been happening for the last few years. Apparently now the average annual insurance rate in New York State is over $4,000 annually, and that's $1,500 more than the national average. So these reforms are supposed to, again, bring you back some money on your utility bills, and also help you save money on car insurance. And then finally, on the good news side, the state legislature passed the SUNny Act, and basically what this does is it allows balcony solar. It's for renters and stuff that you can buy solar panels that you can put on your balconies, and you can plug them right into the generator, and there's going to be a whole system here so you can actually use solar panels to help you save on some of your utility bills as well. The old business is on here. As you can see, I'm still plugging the access study, but I'm not going to waste any more time on that. The locations from the April meeting, which are the ones here in purple, are still being worked on. If you'd like to add something, we have Post-its here, and you can do so after the meeting. The car insurance utility bills we just updated on. We are going to do a CPR class. I've just been weighing whether or not we're going to do it in the summer, when, let's be honest, turnout isn't great at these things, just being real, or to do it in the fall. It's going to depend. We're going to do it in partnership. Member Benedetto is going to pay for part of it, but we're going to do it in partnership with Pearl Studio and possibly with Little League parents, so that way we can ensure that we get the whole full class in. Because a lot of those parents do need CPR certification anyway. We're also going to be doing a flood solutions fair with the Waterfront Alliance, date to be determined, so just tune in there. And then finally, in new business, we are going to be doing a fundraising campaign to replenish our funds. All members and people who come to these meetings, people who watch online, if people want to go to cityislandrising.org and make a donation, we would really appreciate it. Our cleanup event, as well as the painting of the murals, cost us $700 each. So we're just trying to make sure we have money in our treasury and in our reserves should anything else pop up, we're able to do it. We are a 501c3, so any money you give to us is tax deductible. You can claim it on your taxes. With that, any questions before we close? All right, everyone, this was a wonderful meeting. Thank you all so very much.